An Introduction to Web Mapping Services, WMS. A web mapping service, WMS, consists of geospatial data hosted through the Internet with standards set by the Open Geospatial Consortium, OGC. WMS enables the exchange of spatial information and viewing over the web in the form of a map or image to your web browser. There are many different types of web mapping services. For example, some of the most common formats are WMS, WFS, WCS, WPS, WMTS, and WCPS. Web Mapping Service, WMS. A web mapping service, WMS, is the most widely used and most straightforward form for displaying GIS data on the web. It offers a variety of benefits, including the ability to provide a geospatial view of your GIS data. AWMS provides data as a visual representation through the Internet with basic querying options. AWMS gives basic zooming, panning and assists organizations to serve GIS data as images with quick rendering speeds. You should choose AWMS service for any of the following options. Render data quickly. Perform basic querying. Produce simple maps. Maintain styles when published. Web Feature Service, WFS. A web feature service, WFS, provides essential tools for businesses and individuals who want to create interactive maps with a variety of features including search capabilities, filtering, sorting options, and more. If you want to perform any type of action such as editing data, AWFS gives you access to vector data, not raster. By using the Get Features request, you will be able to retrieve features for advanced features and much more. It's recommended to use AWFS in any of the following circumstances. Create, manipulate, and delete features. Perform advanced querying to retrieve feature information. View and edit attribute table records. If you want access to the features so you can manipulate them in any way, AWFS is the best way to go. This type of mapping service follows the OGC standards for WFS. Web Coverage Service, WCS. A web coverage service, WCS, is similar to AWFS. Instead, you can request multidimensional raster data. For instance, you can use it for satellite imagery, aerial photography, elevation hillshades, or temperature grids. The term WCS originates from gridded coverages, which refer to any type of raster-based image. Although this type of format is less common compared to AWMS or WFS, it works well for satellite imagery or any type of raster image. You'll want to use AWCS in any of the following circumstances. Represent multidimensional formats like NetCDF, HDF, or GRIB. Contains multi-year data like temperature data. Analyze raster data. Web Processing Service, WPS. When you want to serve and execute a geoprocessing tool for access across a network, it's the Web Processing Service, WPS, that defines all the inputs and outputs to perform a GIS operation. For example, geoprocessing services can include anything from overlay, proximity, and routing tools based on the standardized WPS XML schema related to geospatial data. Here are the following situations you may want to use a web processing service, WPS. Perform geospatial analysis for anyone without the proper software. Accept a standard set of inputs and outputs. Simplify a spatial operation as a widget in a web map. Web Map Tile Service, WMTS. A Web Map Tile Service, WMTS, is a relatively newer standard web service developed in 2010. The idea for this type of web service is similar to AWMS. But it's a protocol designed for a 2D tiled schema that is 256 times 256 pixels in size. One of the benefits of using AWMTS is that it can be pre-rendered on the server-side map tiles at different scales and cached on the client side. As a result, this results in faster delivery, less bandwidth, and a better user experience for its quick loading. You may want to consider using AWMTS in any of the following situations. Provide optimal speed for viewing cached image tiles. Display large amounts of data over the internet but has limited capability for analysis. Serve base maps with optimal performance. Web Coverage Processing Service, WCPS. The Web Coverage Processing Service, WCPS, was developed in 2008 and is a mix of WCS and WPS. The primary usage of the WCPS standard is for multidimensional coverages such as sensor data, imagery, or statistical analysis. Although this format has a role in remote sensing imagery, it goes beyond a simple coverage grid, WCS. For example, you can use a WCPS to calculate normalized difference vegetation index, NDVI, values from a multispectral satellite. Even though it's not as popular as the other web service standards, here are some of its users. Extract and analyze server-side multidimensional coverage repositories. Perform an advanced 4-D climate model with multidimensional data. Provide extra flexibility for preprocessing and data reduction. Differences between WMS, WFS, WCS, WPS, WMTS, and WCPS. Service. Acronym. Purpose. Data type support. Example use cases. Web Mapping Service. WMS. Serve maps as images for visualization. Maps layers images. Displaying maps with layers and symbology. Web Feature Service. WFS. Serve geospatial features for querying. Vector features. Retrieving, querying, and editing geographic features. Web Coverage Service. WCS. Serve multidimensional data, rasters. Raster data. Accessing and analyzing raster data. Web Processing Service. WPS. Execute geospatial processes remotely. Geoprocessing tasks. Running geospatial analysis and algorithms. Web Map Tile Service. WMTS. Serve pre-rendered map tiles for speed. Maps layers. Efficiently displaying maps with cached tiles. Web Coverage Processing Service. WCPS. Execute complex operations on raster data. Raster data. Advanced analysis and processing of raster coverages. These web services are useful in sharing, analyzing, and visualizing geospatial data and processes over the Internet. Each service is tailored to specific tasks and data types, enhancing the capabilities of geospatial applications and systems. Where do web mapping services fit into GIS servers? It's important to understand that a WMS, WFS, WPS, or any type of web mapping service is output from a GIS server such as GeoServer or ArcGIS server. For instance, a GIS server reads inputs from a variety of GIS formats. For example, it can read from PostGIS, ArcSDE, shapefiles, geopackages, or raster data. Then, it outputs the data as a web service such as AWMS or WFS, which are the two primary geospatial web services. There are a number of different types of mapping services, but all serve their own purpose. Remember that a web mapping service is not only designed for the Internet, but can also integrate seamlessly with other software applications such as GIS, Geographic Information Systems. Open Geospatial Consortium, OGC. The role of the Open Geospatial Consortium, OGC, is they are like the keepers of geospatial data standards, free and available for no cost. No matter the source of the data, OGC helps geospatial data integrate with each other. If it comes from different sensors, software, and even different languages, OGC sets the standards for sharing data so everyone can communicate. Basically, OGC helps so all servers, sensors, and any geospatial data formats speak the same language of where. Any type of web service, WMS, WFS, WCS, etc., is primarily available through interfaces that support Open Geospatial Consortium, OGC, geospatial standards. Web Mapping Services Applications. Web services have a variety of purposes including any of the following. Creating maps for websites or mobile apps. Visualizing trends of geographic data. Identifying places where businesses are located or where people live. Building digital archives of historic maps. Editing features and attributes. Planning heritage tours around locations on maps. Showing the location of campus buildings or places on campus. Managing event logistics such as parking and transportation. Tracking access points at a venue. Helping viewers see what events are happening near them. Organizing a scavenger hunt or other social contest. Connecting people with organizations in their area of interest. There are countless ways to implement a web service, but each one has its own advantages and disadvantages.